Hey there, let's talk about the year ahead. So, every year it's very busy for me in January. Everybody wanting to know, what's going on in the chart for the year ahead. So, I'm over that, busyness, everybody trying to book in. So now I do have some spaces that free up for March. Can you believe it? We're already in March. So every year there's certain things that happen in the chart which are really like higher vibrational energies, and even though it's happening for everyone, it's going to land in a different part of your personal chart and interact with your personal chart differently. So, for instance, this year, Jupiter moves into Pisces. So, and it does go back in retrograde, and it does still retrograde, then goes back into Aquarius. But Jupiter in Pisces is like amazing because it's the co-ruler. So Pisces has two rulerships. So there's Jupiter, the traditional ruler, and Neptune, the more modern ruler, and they're both in Pisces. So, whether you're Pisces or not, then this is going to have a huge effect on everyone, because in this position, I mean, Jupiter is the planet of abundance and expansion, and it's, big, it's beneficiary, and, we like to call it the lucky planet. And so where these two fit, both Neptune and Jupiter in your chart, and at some point later this year they will conjunct, be together, and it's hugely inspirational, and it's like it really helps to connect you to source energy, what I call the God source. I mean, you may have a different name for it, so it's all the one energy, so whatever you call it is fine. So this really helps us get in touch with our inner self, our gut feel, our intuition, what inspires us, which then helps us get in touch with what is it that we love to do in life. If you can do what you love and love what you're doing, then really that's just such a gift, such a wonderful thing. And so the whole life purpose comes out in your chart. There's also the Mercury retrograde. It's not one of my most favorite transits if you've been watching me for a while, but so be it. Mercury does go retrograde 3 or 4 times a year. This year it's like was in January, came out of retrograde on February the 3rd. It's again in May and September, and right at the end of the year, December 29, which actually happens to be my birthday. So I'm not sure how I feel about that one. But anyway, so, we look at, when I'm looking at a chart for the year ahead, I'm looking at, how that affects you as well, because that'll be, Mercury retrograde is good for something. It's great for some things. It helps you plan and get organized. And there's a time for planning, organization, and putting things together, pushing forward and pushing through. So that's highlighted. There's also eclipses every year. This year it's April, May, October, November. 2 lunar, 2 solar, and it's in the axis of Scorpio and Taurus. So, we look at that, and then, each month there's significant, vibrational sort of connections in the planetary chart. So we go through and, have a look at that, and certainly look at all areas of life, like spiritual, financial, well-being, career, social, love, family. I think I've left something out, intellectual, or I mean, I like to sort of touch on all the areas, but sometimes you might have just 3 or 4 areas which are your main focus. So we'll do a bit of a deeper dive into those areas. and do, a full report on that. And I like to do the year ahead readings on Zoom so I can show you the chart. It depends what sign you are. The Pisces don't really like to see the chart. They can find it a little bit confusing sometimes, because they like to just stay and tuned in without the distraction. Of course, all the Virgos love to see the chart, so I can share the screen and show you what's going on. And so we look at your chart, we look at the transits of your chart depending on where your birthday is or when your birthday is. We may touch on your solar chart. I generally don't do the progressed the progress chart in the year ahead because it's a whole session on its own, but the progress chart is very, very interesting. It shows how you've grown and how you're growing and how where you're heading in this life in your spiritual growth. So I love that it puts like a whole other layer on top of it. Particularly if you know a little about astrology, then the progress chart really gives you a whole other deeper level of insight. But as I said, that's like a session on its own. So it's not so late. It's not too late to have the year ahead reading. It's never too late to have the year ahead reading, really. So I do have that at a reduced rate. So do go along to jenniferangel.com and go into the Astro Consult page, and you'll see it there and reach out. As I said, I do have spaces left for in March because we've gotten over the whole January, February sort of busy time on that. So if this is something you feel that would be good for you, just to give you some insight, take like some of the worry and anxiety about what's coming up for you, and just to gain more clarity about where you are, where you want to be, and how to get there, and how that's likely to unfold for you, and the changes that you can make to just step into that in a much more powerful way and manifest that. So if that's something that you feel resonates with you and you would like me to help you with that, then please go ahead and book that. You'd want to get in sort of sooner rather than later before spaces book out though. Okay, all right, much love to you. Thanks for watching. Talk soon.